So I realized that there was one of the big BSDs that I was missing. I didn't have a video on it, so I think that's what we'll do today. So this is going to be FreeBSD, version 10, 10.2, to be exact, kind of an installation walkthrough and some thoughts on it. Let's get started. As always, using trusty VirtualBox, because it's handy. We'll give this 4 gigs of memory just because we have it. And I'm actually going to be doing some stuff here, so we'll give it a nice big drive. And 4 CPUs. Do the bridge network adapter, and we're going to do the pair virtualized adapter. So see if the VirtIO drivers work. Never tried that before with FreeBSD, but we'll take a look. And just need to set the CD in place, and we're using the cache. Okay, everything looks pretty good. So as usual, I'm going to switch into scaled mode. So you know, the fonts may be a little bit out of aspect, a little fuzzy, but it should be easier to see this way. So text mode installer, pretty straightforward. Select the key map, set a host name. What here I like to do is I like to install the documentation, additional docs, games, important. You know, you need games on a base system, and it's so tiny. Why you wouldn't include them? I mean, I guess Fortune has offensive fortunes. Maybe that's why you wouldn't include it. 32-bit compatible libraries, won't be needing them, but it doesn't hurt to have them. I don't like to install the ports tree as part of the distributions here. So I like to bring it down later with port snap, and we'll go through that when we get in there. And the system source. So we're going to use ZFS. You know, if I was doing just the ordinary stuff, I'd do UFS, but since most people are probably interested in ZFS, we'll take a look at that. It's not going to be a very interesting ZFS setup because we only have the single disk. So we're just going to stick with that, but we're doing, you know, we have swap. It's just going to be a one disk stripe, so single disk in the pool. You know, if we had more than one disk, we could do some more inventive setups. You know, mirroring, things like that. So we can do a mirror, different types of rating there, but we'll just stick with the default. And it asks you a couple questions, and it goes through the installation. So pretty straightforward here. So FreeBSD is probably, if you're on kind of the Intel stuff, so i386 or AMD 64, FreeBSD is probably the most full-featured of the BSDs for kind of general use. I know Dragonfly has made some strides, and maybe that's your kind of target for performance. FreeBSD has, people claim it as the best SMP support, multiple processors or processing cores. And if you're really running on hardware that isn't exotic or legacy stuff, or you don't need the extra security auditing of OpenBSD, FreeBSD is a really good choice. It has a lot of packages, a lot of ports. And it's kind of the most supported and most popular of the BSDs. I like to keep a VM of this running on i386 simply to get the Xfce stuff. Although I may switch that out for something in OpenSolaris, because you still can get the Xfce on OpenSolaris with the 32-bit libs. Well, we set a root password, and we set up networking. Don't want DHCP. And I don't want IPv6. And we're in home.lan. And we select the time zone. So pretty straightforward. It is, in some ways, more steps than the OpenBSD installer. OpenBSD installer is really nice because it's really lean and quick, so you can go through it pretty quickly. This takes a few more steps, but maybe easier for people who haven't gone through it before. And Central Time, yes, we're no longer in daylight savings. So one of the new things that's in here that I've seen recently is the local unbound. I'm not going to use that here, but that claims that that really speeds up name resolution. So these are kind of the services you'd want. You'd want PowerD if you're on a physical machine. You know, and we'll put the network time daemon on there just for fun. Let's add a user. And as with the BSDs, bring someone into the group wheel if you want them to do a sudo, or I'm sorry, an SU out of the box. And because we are BSD, we're going to do the TC shell. So that's handy. They let you do that. So installation is done. So let's reboot here. Pull the disk out of the drive, and we'll go back into scale mode. Now you see the nice ASCII art, and the boot screen is a nice touch. So there are some good things here. And see our boot up messages. And let's log in, and we are up. So let me switch over to a real terminal here. So we're in. So let's go over to root and do the first things first of getting the ports tree installed. So here we get to do a port snap is the command to get it, and we start with a fetch. Let me get another session open here. And we'll also do, we're going to bootstrap the package management tool, which is PKG, just so we can demo both means of installing software here, ports and packages. So this is the new package management tool that came out, I guess. It was out in version 9 of FreeBSD, and you could use it alongside, I guess it was package next generation, use it alongside the original one, or they were both available. Now it's your option, so you don't get to do both. Maybe you do, but you shouldn't. So we're pulling down the ports tree, and this is a nice touch that FreeBSD does that the other, well, that OpenBSD does not. So OpenBSD, you want to bring down the ports tree, you check it out from CVS, or you grab the tarball. Here, you use the port snap command to keep things up to date in the ports tree, which is pretty important. You want to keep things up to date, look for new ports. So let's, we're going to install Xorg, because a lot of people may want that. We can take a look at the desktop environments available. This is going to take about 350 megs. So FreeBSD out of the box does not come with X Windows. Pretty easy to install, as you'll see here. So this one command, so it's kind of a meta package of Xorg, gets you everything you need to go out of the box. But that's just TWM as a window manager, which for me is fine. A lot of people may want a different window manager, but that's pretty easy to install as well. So flipping back over to the other tab, port snap has fetched everything, so we now do a port snap extract and bring that down. So there are a lot of ports on FreeBSD, and the port system is one of the good features of the BSDs, and I know it's been copied in some other stuff. Slack builds are sort of similar on the Slackware side, but not quite the same. What is it? Gentoo has portage. Gentoo has portage. Very similar. As the best way to install your software is to build from source, especially for small things. Something big like Xorg, yeah, you can do it. It's going to take a couple hours, right? But for small things, build from source. That way you know what you're getting. You can look at what patches are applied, if any, and you can verify that you are getting the upstream source. This came up looking at some stuff, as if you have security concerns, you want to make sure you can review it. Don't install a binary package unless it's from a truly trusted source. Yeah, it's a little slow to download tonight. Too much streaming video over my my WAN connection tonight. So we can see this scroll by, and you see how many ports there are here. And I don't know if anyone's done the counts. I don't know. I haven't looked at it. But I get the feeling that FreeBSD has more ports available than OpenBSD and possibly NetBSD in their port system. But one of the downsides is something like a NetBSD or OpenBSD, it'll run on a VAX, and NetBSD especially will run almost everywhere. So there is a little bit of a limit, but that focus that FreeBSD had means that it is in some ways better suited for PC type hardware, so Intel or Intel equivalent AMD. Hardware, nice and fast. And for desktop use, if you don't want to mess with all of this, I know there's kind of some layered stuff on top of it. PCBSD, which is designed for graphical desktop use and has graphical management tools and package tools, things like that, layered in, which is quite appealing. So let's go over to the ports tree and just take a look at the window managers available. To give you an idea of everything that's in here, we'll scroll up, and you can see this the huge amount of window managers here. For example, we can go look at some of the other ports, and most ports are also available as a package, so someone's built a package for it. And as you see, we're still installing Xorg, so we can't put any of these things in yet. But let's see if my favorite editors are available. And no Elvis. I seem to recall in previous versions of the ports tree, Elvis was available, so that's a little disappointing. Someone will probably say, "Hey, build a port for Elvis." It really is kind of the best of the VIs. It's midway between a kind of stock VI and Vim, in terms of capabilities. It's really easy to add syntax for highlighting in the modes. But we'll install JED out of ports here. Now, well, first we'll go to the emulators. I'll put on SimH just because that's important. So make install and a make clean. All you need to do to install it. And it'll pop up dialogues, which is really nice that you get some dialogues here. So this is version 3.9. And yeah, we want to build the documentation. So it's going to need to put in GNU Make as well, and the get text tools. Maybe some other stuff. So you see the ports does dependency tracking for you. So it's able to deal with all the dependencies necessary, put things in place. So we've got Xorg installed, so we can go back over here. And let me get out of scale mode. So now we can run X, as you see. Not very interesting, because two things. One, we don't have the guest additions for VirtualBox, so it's not able to resize the X display. And two, again, even though it's my favorite window manager, a lot of people aren't too much of a fan of TWM. Let's rectify that. Yeah. So we can do a package search and search for WM. Xfce 4, that's pretty appealing. Let's pipe that through more. Yeah, we'll do Xfce. See if there's a meta package out there for Xfce. Yeah, so we're 4.12.1 is the meta package. And so you see it prompts for everything that needs to be put on, and how much space it'll take to download and install. So we'll put that in place and see how our port build is coming. So it is moving along here. And of course we're installing the package here, so we can't install that port, which is a good sign. That shows that the ports and the package systems work together, so you don't get overlap. Now, what do I use FreeBSD for? I use it, one, as a host for things like Xview, as I said, so I can run the OpenLook window manager when I'm in the mood. Two, I use it to validate code for portability. So you write some C code, you develop on Linux, you want to make sure it's portable to other systems. FreeBSD is a good test. Rich development environment, all the BSDs will work. It's really easy to test on each one. You probably should be testing on Solaris too. I don't have HPUX available, so that's not available. I don't think I ever have a need to run anything on HPUX, although that might change at some point in the future. Sorry, but it's a good test bench. It also works really well as a desktop operating system. As I said, the PCBSD kind of overlays, or spin, for lack of a better term, is very successful and has created is a nicely crafted, from what I hear, I've yet to use it, desktop operating system based on FreeBSD. So you can also use this as a server, and people run databases. That's one of the things I'm going to be evaluating on this image, is Postgres, and perhaps we'll go run through the installation there of Postgres. So it makes a wonderful server, good performance. You get ZFS, which is a big plus in a lot of environments. So you get ZFS, you get a free, as in everything, operating system. So you want ZFS and you don't want Solaris or Open Solaris or Illumos, what it's called now. FreeBSD is kind of your best choice there. Up until recently, it would run on Itanium, which is another plus if you have Itanium gear, which I do, although it'll be running OpenVMS. It does run on some other systems, but it is not as many, obviously, as NetBSD or even OpenBSD. Sorry. So this is taking a minute or two. Hopefully it won't take too much longer to bring everything down here. So interestingly enough, Xfce uses Samba, which I guess that's for file browsing. Probably should have gone with a simpler window manager for the install demo here, but that should run through pretty quick. And so that's pretty quick. And compared to an RPM based system, the packages here work really, really well. So let's do another package search for, put the guest editions in. Want that. So one of the things, you're going to want to be in the wheel group if you want to use the guest editions, and we're going to have to start this. So startup scripts in local Xfce. Set this. So BSD startup is another advantage the BSDs have over Linux. It makes sense. It keeps you from doing something stupid like I just tried to do. So now we have that, and let's do a start Xfce4 here. So we now get the display resize. So Xfce4 on FreeBSD. So simple as that. So a couple extra steps to get up and running with X and your favorite window manager. So there, now that the lock from the package install wasn't there, we're able to go put SimH on, so we can go and emulate a VAX if we wanted to, or PDP-8. So I guess the thing I was actually trying to do, the actual bit of work I was trying to do before I figured I'll go walk through this, is put Postgres on here, and so that'll be kind of the last little bit of this demo. I know it's been a little rambling and all over the place, but let's go put Postgres on here. As simple as a package install. And we could have built this from ports, which I would prefer to do, but in the interest of time, just deploy it like this. So again, the package tool, dependency tracking. It's done the task to create groups, etc. So add it to rc.conf. And we'll have to initialize the database here. So let's see if our database is up and running. They're able to create a database for the PSQL user. I'm sorry, the PGSQL user. Let's create a table. Table exists. So that's as easy as it is to get a database server, Postgres, up and running. Again, same would probably hold true for MySQL, MongoDB. I believe. Let's check before I hang up the microphone here. Let's see if if Mongo is available. And Mongo is. So again, really versatile server operating system, desktop operating system. I hate to say it, for general use on Intel derived hardware, so at i386, x86 64, AMD 64, probably the best choice of the BSDs. Again, Dragonfly is coming along, and I played with Dragonfly a little bit, and their claim of performance I've yet to truly evaluate, but if their claims are true, that's another strong contender. But it doesn't have the same level of popularity, and therefore the same level of support. And that's one of those things in the open source world, is a certain popularity level is necessary to really get the support from applications, developers, documentation. The BSDs, all of them are excellent in documentation. So that's one thing it's really difficult to show, but if you have a question about something, the man pages and the other documentation. So FreeBSD has a handbook. If you're a beginner, look at the handbook. It answers every single question step by step by step. And makes everything easy. So everything from installing, setting up X windows, setting up a firewall, lays it out in great detail. And the man pages in all the BSDs, FreeBSD being no exception, are well documented. There's nothing missing. It's not GNU Linux. It isn't spotty documentation, which has gotten better, but I remember the old days. But the BSD is exceedingly well documented. So one last note, on Postgres, you're probably going to want to edit your host-based authentication and have it listening on an interface to have a real database server. But that's it for now. Thanks.